better now? Yeah. 11.
Good morning, everyone. The event is going to start now. So may I request everyone to keep your audio mute. Yes, Garima, you can start the event.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning and warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us in CGBMT School of Simple Living 28th Simple Talk session on Only One Earth. This week we are celebrating Environment Day. We only get one planet. Protecting our future on this planet depends on the conscious evolution of our species. I quote Leonardo DiCaprio. With these inspirational words, this is Architect Garima Grover, Volunteer Manager of CGBMT. On behalf of CGBMT, I welcome all of you for our simple talk celebrating Environment Week. Our speakers for the day. Thank you, Kanmani, for compiling such a beautiful video about CGBMT's journey and work. Now, I would like to share a brief about CGBMT. CGBMT, the Center for Green Building Materials and Technology, is an Indian non-governmental organization that works to promote a sustainable way of living. Our work responds to environmental issues of our times through eco-education, advocacy, research, and development, and on-the-ground community projects. CGBMT has successfully completed 18 years of its existence. Since its inception, CGBMT has been advocating eco-education, skilling, simple living, inclusivity, and social equity, including resource equity of the commons, as the only panacea for a happy, healthy, and just society. Now, I would request our host and CGBMT founder, architect Neelam Manjunath, to share about today's event with us.
Close the. Okay. Hello. Hello, am I audible?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am.
Okay. So, a very good morning and a very warm welcome to all the participants on a second Saturday morning, and we welcome you to our first simple talks in this new series that we will be launching today, and I'll be talking about it a little later. I welcome my all the dignitaries who are there in the audience: Architect Professor Jaisin, Dr. Raghav, Professor Komagal, and Architect Sarvi. We have many other dignitaries who are there. I welcome all of you here, and the volunteers and all the organizers who have helped us to put up this program together. And I especially welcome the speakers for the event today, Sangeeta Agasti. Miss Sangeeta Agasti, she is already there right now with us. She is the regional coordinator in BAR, International Network of Bamboo and Rattan. And in detail, we'll be talking to a very warm welcome, Sangeeta, to our program. And Sangeeta is incidentally also a part of our advisory committee and the executive committee of CGBMT. I welcome Kanmani, Architect Kanmani, who is a volunteer, and she has been there with us since we started the volunteer program. That was in 2020, at a time when we shifted from a founder driven CGBMT to a board driven, or like more like an organization. We started with the new advisory board. And since that time, she has been with us and volunteering. She'll be sharing her own personal journey and what it is like to be volunteering and her experiences in the field. And the third speaker, I also welcome Dr. Shobha. Incidentally, she's not here right now. She'll be joining us a little later. Another scientist, and I really welcome her for the program. With this, I hand over to Garima to take the program forward.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I would like to take you to our first session with Ms. Sangeeta Agasti. Ms. Sangeeta Agasti, ma'am, is a regional director at INBAR. She's working into sustainable development, MSME clusters, value chains, circular economy, and sustainability standards. With over 16 years of working experience in the sustainable development arena, Sangeeta has led programs working across positions as team leaders and project manager, advisor to agencies like European, UNDP, ADB, and several multilateral and bilateral agencies in more than 15 countries in Asia, Africa, and Europe. She has hands-on experience of working in the area of policy, strategy, and implementation of initiatives focusing on inclusive and sustainable value chain development and entrepreneurship. Apart from working in various bamboo initiatives, Sangeeta has also worked extensively in sectors like textile, leather, general engineering, agriculture and agro products, heritage, culture, and creative industries. So I welcome Sangeeta ma'am to share about her experience and her journey with us and guide us with the way.
Thank you, Garima, for this very humbling introduction. Can you please allow me to share my screen? I have a very brief kind of a presentation. So I just wanted to share my experience both in the MSME sector and also in the sustainable development area, particularly focusing on the bamboo based initiatives. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. And you can share the screen also.
Yeah. Okay. So how to close this?
You can click escape, ma'am. So that.
Just escape. Okay. No, actually, this entire thing is going on. Anyways, I mean, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
It's screen
No
share.
problem. I think this ribbon will not bother it. Yeah. So basically, I would like to thank CGPMT for inviting me to this forum. And congratulations to the entire team who are organizing this kind of programs quite passionately over the years. Like I have seen like this similar kind of programs last year also. So we had a couple of rounds of discussion actually, and Ms. Neelam Manjunath, who is pioneering all these kind of sustainability, development initiatives in the country, particularly in using the natural-based solutions and all. So she was actually requesting me to focus on two aspects. Given my background in the MSME sector, because MSME is a big contributor to the economy, not only to the national economy, but also to the development economy. It has a lot of opportunities. It has a lot of economic opportunities and social opportunities, like it generates a lot of employment opportunity for the people. And secondly, social aspects, other social aspects, like a lot of women who are involved in the MSME work, particularly in the own account enterprises. So there are gender issues also. And there are like many marginalized communities who are also involved in a lot of like traditional manufacturing industries. There are heritage-based industries, there are food processing industries, those kind of industries where women and marginalized community are also available, meaning they are fully employed. And there are a lot of opportunities which can be actually be a big contributor in terms of employment and other social development for these kind of people in the economy. So it has both like the economic and social kind of relevance and also a lot of environmental relevance. So this is one aspect she requested me to cover, given my background of like 16 years of working in this MSME domain. This is one part. Second part is basically currently I'm engaged, I'm working with INBAR, which is International Bamboo and Rattan Organization. So this is kind of an intergovernmental organization. So it has a member base of like 48 member countries are there who are supported directly by INBAR. But apart from that, we also work in many other countries where there are bamboo and rattan is plentifully available. So these are the two aspects which I would like to try to balance in this presentation. I have about like 20 minutes for the presentation and 10 minutes for the question and answer. So I'll try to restrict myself to only these two aspects and give justice to the time that I've been given. So let me take a couple of minutes to talk about what is INBAR. My slides are not moving actually. Okay, yeah, it's working now. So the organization which I'm representing, this is an intergovernmental organization, but we focus primarily on creating a lot of solutions. We pilot ideas and then we help our member states or member countries basically to create right kind of policy ecosystem so that they can enable, they can actually foster a lot of sustainable solution in the country. So we do research and development work. We support the policy. Third, we also do a lot of capacity and training initiatives in many sectors. Like bamboo is such a subject which is relevant for many areas, like in housing and construction, in lifestyle segment, in energy segment. So it has a lot of relevance in many segments, many sectors, and it generates a lot of environmental benefits apart from the economic and social benefits. So it has relevance with a lot of sustainable development goals also, even sustainable development goals. And India being the second largest like bamboo rich country in the world, this is also quite important for us to actually venture into new ideas, promote new type of like initiatives and all. INBAR is also quite actively supporting creation of global standards. So we have different type of task force who are constantly working on creating both sustainable production standards and also sustainable consumption standard, because bamboo is a natural solution which can replace a lot of unsustainable or less sustainable resources in many segments. And for that, actually, we have to educate the consumer or the end user to buy such kind of products, sustainable products. And for that, to take informed decision, they need to have like sustainable consumption standards so that they can, choose a nature-based solution over the other unsustainable or less sustainable solutions. So we promote those kind of like sustainable consumption standards and also the production standard, because there are a lot of traditional products and also industrial products. And industrial products are like, for example, from very high-end kind of product, engineered bamboo-based products, and their further applications in many areas. Actually, it requires sustainable production system, meaning the production has to be to ensure 100% resource utilization, energy efficient production systems. It should also like, have the basic minimum like the safety standards, the occupational health and safety of the workers should be ensured, and all these kind of sustainable production practices that we have to ensure. So these are the like sustainable standards that we help the international and also the national sustainable standard making organization to come up with those kind of things. Then we do adaptive research and innovation, and also we create knowledge products. Like in our on our website, you will see that a lot of like resources are there. Like for example, there are technical papers, there are Totem is like basically technology transfer modules. So if somebody is looking for like innovative solution and wants to understand the entire production process, starting from what kind of raw material to be used, what kind of technology to be used, how much of investment would be required, which market is suitable and all. So for the entire, end-to-end kind of business solution, we create this kind of Totem, the modules basically, which will be relevant particularly for the entrepreneurs who are already in the business or who wants to like suppose set up a new business. So to enable them, we create this kind of knowledge products and all. Then we have a global inventory of bamboo and rattan resources. This is basically to enable whether like we have and what varieties of bamboo and rattan resources we have in different type of geographies and all. And there is also a very simplified tool which tells like, given a particular soil type or a kind of environmental condition in a particular area, what kind of species of bamboo would be relevant for that. So we have gathered different information and we have created different type of scientific tools which can enable people to take well-informed kind of choices for raw material, for production, for the value-added products. So basically, we have about like 5 regional offices, and the South Asia and also the Southeast Asia. This regional offices here in India, which are coordinating at this moment. So these are our member countries and all. And these are the products that I was talking about, the knowledge resources. We also have this, quarterly magazines, which highlights a lot of like the innovative applications globally, which are available, and success stories, case studies and all. This is a trade related database we have, wherein one can easily see the import and export figure of a particular country. training and capacity initiatives and all. Now, before going into the bamboo as a natural solution, MSME is another aspect which I was like talking based on Neelamji's request. I would like to touch upon this subject, like how MSME and why MSME is so important in this environmental and also the whole economic context. So different countries, they have different type of, definitions to define the micro, small and medium enterprises. So in India, based on two parameters like we define, one is basically the investment and second is turnover. Earlier it was only investment, but recent change in 2020 actually, they considered turnover also as another criteria. So you can see like this is the broad distribution. But from a very layman point of view, MSME means basically the small scale industries, which has like lesser investment and lesser like employment kind of. It's largely the micro enterprises. 99% of the MSME in the country are the micro enterprises, which are, and out of that, like more than 90% are own account enterprise. So own account enterprise meaning like it's household unit where the family members are engaged. They don't hire like anybody from outside. So it's like completely self-employment kind of thing. And on an average, if you look at the figures and all in the country, so we have 63 million about like MSMEs and 111 million jobs they create, which means on an average, like one unit generates like about 2 employment. So it's mostly like a household units basically. There's a thin base of like small and medium enterprises in the country. But they are a good big contributor to our national economy, particularly in terms of employment and also the GDP and total export earning from, particularly from the manufacturing sector. It contributes to around like 6.11% of the total manufacturing GDP and 24.63% of the GDP from service activities, as well as 33% of the India's total manufacturing output. So it's a significant contributor to the economy. It contributes more than like 8,000 products actually from the Indian and international markets. So one can see the huge range of like type of MSMEs we have. Like if you look at the NIC classification, so in the manufacturing sector, there are about like 49 manufacturing, subsectors as far as the 2-digit classification is concerned. We have a very thin base of medium enterprises. One can easily see that out of these, like if on an average 2 employment is generated. And if you look at the census data also, there are very few medium enterprises. Largely, these are like micro and small enterprises. Another important aspect, like why this MSME is quite relevant for the environmental concerns. Out of the total, effluent generated or the pollution generated or attributed by the manufacturing sector, almost about 70% is actually attributed by the MSMEs, which means though the MSMEs are relevant for our economy, they're also big contributor to the environmental pollution. And there are many causes or the many reasons actually for this huge number of any significant contribution in terms of pollution. It's largely because these MSMEs, they don't have that much of, investment capacity and knowledge, to adopt or adapt different sustainable practices, meaning the entire production process is not energy efficient or not very resource efficient. They generate a lot of effluent, which are not being even, used for any productive resources. So there is a lesser, circularity aspect also. So, and it's largely because of the technical and also non-technical constraints. They don't know like what kind of solutions would be relevant for them. And secondly, the reason why this is happening is largely because we have a very weak kind of ecosystem. The ecosystem is not being able to help the MSMEs to adopt this kind of sustainable practices. There is a huge disconnect between that. However, there are a lot of opportunities also. like the biggest opportunity for the economy to address both the environmental and also economic aspect is that the presence of cluster in the economy. Like more than 70%, and this is a research which we have done like a few years ago in my previous assignment. So more than 70% of the MSMEs are in different clusters. So here basically cluster means a geographical location where there are a large number of enterprises who are making same or similar products. We call it as cluster. So cluster is defined in terms of the geography and the product that the units who are making that. So for example, if it is Jalandhar, there are a large number of, you will see large number of like sports goods manufacturing companies are there. So we call it as Jalandhar sports goods cluster. If it is bamboo, and suppose in Barpeta, Assam area, there are a large number of artisans who are manufacturing furniture products. So we call it as Barpeta bamboo furniture making cluster. So that is the general definition, the Porter's definition, from where the entire theory of cluster development originated basically. So fortunately, the presence of these many clusters in the economy is a big strength. So individually, they're not being able to address their competitiveness problems and also environmental problems. But collectively, since they are in different geographies, different concentrations, there are many problems which can be resolved by collaborating with each other. And not necessarily collaborating for all the business activities. There could be passive collaboration, there could be very active collaboration, depending on like what kind of maturity the cluster has. There are many advanced clusters, like several years ago, those clusters were on the verge of like collapse. They were like completely closed down kind of. So for example, Tirupur is a big example. So Tirupur, there are large number of, textile manufacturing units are there, who were like they started with basic products making actually earlier, several years ago. But Tamil Nadu, all of us, we know like state where like the water is a big problem. Even electricity is also a big problem. And government has put a lot of restrictions on like pollution and all. And this textile industry, it takes a lot of like, it uses a lot of, water for production, particularly for the dyeing work. Now, unless you treat your water and discharge it, or you recycle and further use it in your production, so this actually generates, it creates a lot of, environmental impact. So gradually, with a lot of restriction and all, many units, they closed their operation because they were not being able to comply with the pollution, the requirements and all. Indeed, they were also not having that financial, muscles to, go for effluent treatment plant to improvise on their production system and all. Actually, they realized the importance that being part of that local, the huge concentration, there are many things that they can solve collaborating with each other. Then they created, with the help of some money was like put by the government and some contributed by the industry. There were facilitating agencies like UNEP. Then they could create common effluent treatment plant. Gradually, they also resolved a lot of their competitiveness related problems, because that time China and many other countries were like the, having the technology advantages. So they were like capturing the global market, whereas Tirupur and many other textiles in India, like Ludhiana, all gradually they were like, losing the share in the international market. So they could then realize the importance and came up with a lot of like innovative solutions. They collaborated with each other to resolve this. And during this process, a lot of like opportunities were also created. Because if you look at whether it's bamboo or any other manufacturing areas, value chain, you will see that the enterprising options are there at each and every node of the value chain. But one has to think it strategically, that how those jobs can be, remunerative for the people. So more and more specialized services can be created in the ecosystem. More and more employment can be generated. And the who are manufacturing the products can improve their productivity and competitiveness in the global value chain, and then supply it to the, and be more competitive in the global economy. Now, these are few examples of clusters, very promising clusters who have actually being able to overcome their problems, and they are now the global leaders. And this is basically a typical difference between underperforming and a performing MSME cluster, wherein in underperforming area, you will see that a lot of units are there, but they are like, there is no, inter or intra connection between these units with their other value chain stakeholders also, like the support firms, the backward chain, input suppliers, and all in the forward chain, the buyers and other. You will see a lot of disconnect between that. We have in a country like India, people will be surprised to know that out of like, I think 51 central ministries we also have a lot of state departments, and they have many good schemes and all. Like sometimes back, we did a small exercise again on that to understand how the ecosystem, the MSME ecosystem in the country, who are the key stakeholders and all. And we found that about like 448 schemes are there which are relevant for the MSMEs. But if you talk to any MSME, you'll find that like they know about the basic schemes like PMEGP and all. The 4 or 5 schemes they know maximum. That's the maximum number they know. So we have many elements in the ecosystem already. There are financial institutions, they have a lot of credit for the general loaning purpose. And also there are nowadays a lot of innovative solutions, green financing options are there. Even for specialized work, suppose lean manufacturing, if a unit wants to adopt a lean manufacturing, there is a specialized scheme to, which can actually support the lean manufacturing, in a particular unit. There are energy efficiency related schemes. There are, schemes which can support a lot of like industrial symbiosis, meaning, and particularly to ensure the biocircularity, meaning one waste of one unit can be used as resource in another unit. And we in past like have facilitated those kind of things. Like foundry, for example, is the biggest contributor of pollution. They are highly energy intensive, and also they discharge a lot of pollution like slags and all. And those slags, for example, can be used as resource or can be used as inputs for paver block and many things. So there are schemes which are also supporting those kind of, industrial symbiosis and ensuring biocircularity or circular economy in a country. So one has to understand how the entire ecosystem is and what are the elements which we can create to generate opportunities, employment and economic opportunities, and also to address the environmental issues. Since time is less, I'll not take much. So these are the different elements which I was talking about. Some from a basic ideation to, to make a product sustainable or make an enterprise sustainable. There are different types of inputs which are required. And these inputs can be, made available locally. There are already good schemes which can support this kind of things. Now I'll just quickly touch upon like the bamboo, which for the last couple of years, I'm quite intensively working in this area. And now that I'm part of INBAR, so we are looking at different types of innovative solutions using bamboo for land restoration, for a lot of like these environmental concerns. Land restoration is one. Then, so there are in fact like the problems in, we implemented one initiative a couple of years ago in brick kiln area, like in UP, there are a lot of these kind of units who are, using the topsoil, the red soil for making different type of brick, and with a lot of like environmental pollutions and this kind of negative impact. So gradually the state pollution control department, they put some restrictions over there. And then like through propagating plantation, the right kind of plantation solution, along with enterprising work, actually we were being able to, restore the entire degraded land and generate a lot of economic opportunities for the people and all. So that's a good small case study, which is available on our website. I'll share with the participants, those who are interested to look at that aspect. So if you look at the broader overview, all of us, we know that like how our natural resources are actually depleting over time, and there are a lot of exploitation, meaning the manufacturing sector is using a lot of like energy options, a lot of mineral mining is happening. We know about all these kind of things. And this is a bit projection, like in next few years, how this entire thing will look like. So this is a broad estimation, like how many years are left for our tropical hardwood, for example. People, they have estimated that it will take 500 within 500 years. If we continue this kind of deforestation and use of hardwood, then the entire, hardwood will be completely exhausted. And oil for different type of mineral items and all. So this kind of estimations are there. So bamboo is a very fast growing kind of a material. We call it as a green material or a highly renewable material because it's a perennial crop. Like once it is planted, one may not like that. There's no need for replanting it again and again. For next 70 to 100 years, actually it will be there. And secondly, once this is planted, it takes about like 3 to 5 years to get the maturity. And when this is matured, then one can harvest the poles every year. So depending on the varieties we have, basically. So this is why we call it as a highly renewable kind of a resource. Whereas like timber and all, it takes a lot of years. I mean, this basic, understanding all of us, I'm sure we have already. So I don't have to, focus a lot on that aspect. If you look at the overall economic, relevance, so there's a huge market. So already the global market is about like 60 billion. So international production and consumption is happening, 60 billion market is there. And if you look at only the trade component, so 3.4 billion trade we have in the globe. However, like China is the largest contributor, and second, actually, in terms of the resource, India is the second bamboo resource rich country after China. But our contribution to the global market is only about like 2%, despite having a huge base of resources. And there are a lot of like, factors which are the reason behind this kind of a smaller contribution in the global market. Largely because we do not have a good base of enterprises in the country. So we have people, about like 10 million people who are directly or indirectly, dependent on bamboo for their livelihood. There are about like 4 to 5 million people who are the artisan population, I would say. The traditional community, like in some areas, they are called as Basod community, in some area, Gond community. So there are different people actually who are dependent on this kind of resources for making different basketry items or generic products for the local market. They are there. There are farmers. There are tribal communities who are also like, they cut the bamboo and use it for their own consumption or sell it in the local market. So these kind of people are there. So 10 million people is not a small number. Secondly, being the second largest, producer, it's also not a small thing. Despite having all these kind of things, we do not have, like there is hardly, if I look at the MSME distribution, there are hardly 5 numbers of small and medium enterprises in the country. All remaining are the micro enterprises and largely, the own account enterprises. Large enterprise, we don't have any impact in the country. So since that kind of enterprise base is missing, the economic contribution and also the environmental contribution is insignificant. However, we have a huge opportunity, but we have to create that kind of a base. Actually, we have to create the dots between different type of like ecosystem stakeholders who are already there, and then create this kind of an enterprise base in the country to be able to contribute significantly in terms of economic and also environmental and social, aspects. These are some of the photographs which I would like to share here with the participants. Like there are a lot of possibilities, starting from very high-end kind of engineered bamboo board-based products like these laptop cover or the accessories and all the floor tiles, to very basic kind of products like these cutlery items and all. These are again engineered bamboo-based products. These are very, very sophisticated kind of products. So you will see that in all these products, bamboo is the main resource used. This is a kind of a PVC structure. This is used extensively in China for the water and supply and other things. And this is completely the technology which is called as like the coiling technology. So these are the basic, woven kind of products at the bottom. These are basic utility products. And single-use plastic replaceable kind of products like these food packaging boxes. The second one is kind of the electronic good packaging box basically. Then disposable cups and glasses. This is engineered wood which can replace a lot of like timber, applications like the floor tiles, partition boards, many things. These are the places where this bamboo engineered used. Yeah, these are also furniture and utility items. These are some of the products where like the traditional weaving skill is diffused with the modern engineered board based components, and new range of furniture products are introduced. Like these are traditional weaving skill basically, and you will see the modern accessories are now used actually to make this kind of nice products. Yeah. So I think I have exhausted my time. I have few more examples, but I'll stop here. So this is about a manufacturing example. This is another small story. I'll just quickly, show this slide, and then we'll stop here. So this is another example of a service cluster. Ahmedabad, I mean, all of us, we know, is nowadays is quite popular for many things actually. Particularly, they have created a very nice, ecosystem for all the service enterprises who are offering different type of, experienced-based services. Meaning, in tourism sector, it's unlike in manufacturing sector, the product is basically what we use, meaning the final product. But in tourism sector, the experience we gain from a particular area, that is the product which define the, the entire experience out of that. Now, there are many, actors who are involved in this kind of a tourism cluster, starting from very basic, the hotel industry, the tour guides, the other support providers and all. So in this initiative, which we implemented long back, I think 7-8 years back, we tried to convert this kind of, old Havelis in Ahmedabad. Actually, there's a local institution who is quite proactively working in this area. So they were supported under an European Union initiative to actually convert those traditional Havelis, the broken and, kind of like nobody was going there, nobody was using that facility to this kind of, bed and breakfast industry. And then people are going and staying there, and they're actually experiencing the real life, the, starting from basic thing like food and culture and many things actually in Ahmedabad. And this is a bit of a good story. We have also popularized small activities, like for example, this kite festival was a small thing. So tourism department in the state actually, they supported a lot in terms of popularizing that and making a international kite festival. So these are very small, innovative kind of initiatives through which the competitiveness of our service cluster has been improved over the years, and many new elements, new type of enterprises were then created, who are now actually generating a lot of employment opportunities for the people and all. These are those ecosystem stakeholders, the schemes, the things which I was talking about. Yeah, so I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. There are some questions. Would you like to take them now?
Yeah.
So Dr. Raghav says in one of your slides, you showed own account enterprises. So what are these own account enterprises?
Okay. So basically, if you look at the definition of own account enterprise is nothing but the household units, meaning units which are operating from the household level. Like there are artisans who make different type of products, say a bamboo, household unit, husband, wife, or a minor, or old couple, old parents, or only the household, family members are actually engaged in manufacturing the products. So these kind of enterprises are called own account enterprise. Another aspect of that is basically they don't hire anybody from outside. If an household unit is hiring somebody for, suppose, some support activities or something, that will not be considered as own account enterprise. But own account enterprises, it's like a completely self-employed kind of a unit, household unit, wherein it doesn't provide any employment to anybody outside. Yeah, that is called as own account enterprise.
There's one more question.
Yeah. Any
Yeah. Now, one more question that you were discussing, that MSME, contribute to the highest industrial pollution. So is this the same
20%.
case for the bamboo and
No, not at all. Actually, in my presentation, I was talking largely about SME in general and lesser about like this bamboo. In fact, bamboo is a nature-based solution which can, solve many, unsustainable practices or many pollution issues and all in the economy, basically. So the same situation is not there. Like look at in India, the resource utilization though in bamboo is very less, different type of products. But if I like look at the entire, the whole system and all the production which is happening in the country, the resource utilization is very less. It's less than 30% actually. Meaning out of the total bamboo resource which are going into the manufacturing sector, only 30%, not more than that, in fact, is actually used productively, and the remaining 70% is wasted. The artisans, they generally use it for their fuel purpose or something, or they throw it out basically. But that is not pollution actually, meaning the bamboo pole when you're throwing out, that is a natural resource actually. So the resource efficiency is less, or resource, not the efficiency, but resource utilization is less, but it's not highly polluting. So if they in the production system, if they generate other effluent, like if they use chemical, for example, or if they use a lot of water, any other natural resources which is unproductively or less efficiently used, then we will say that this is also a big contributor to the pollution actually. But that is not happening in the bamboo sector. There are few products, say for example, industrial products within the bamboo, engineered bamboo, for example, the production process is bit energy intensive. They use a lot of energy actually to heat the boiler, to in fact in the pre-treatment also they use chemical to treat the bamboo and all. So in these kind of energy intensive or in kind of industrial product, you will see that like a lot of this kind of pollution aspects are also involved, but not in the traditional manufacturing process. The hand woven things and all, you will not see this kind of pollution there. Yeah.
Thank you so much. There is one more question. Is there any clusters in Karnataka? Like you mentioned, there are many MSME clusters you showed in your slide. So do we have in Karnataka also?
Yes, there are many. In fact, like in manufacturing cluster, if you look at if you categorize it into like broad segments, one is like highly industrial kind of clusters, manufacturing leaders. There are traditional manufacturing clusters, say for example, handloom, handicraft. These are traditional manufacturing clusters. They don't employ a lot of like machine or equipments for manufacturing. They're skill intensive clusters. They use basic locally available raw material. People have the basic skills and then they make different type of products basically. So if you look at the traditional manufacturing clusters, so Karnataka has many clusters wherein the square based products are manufactured. I don't recall the names exactly, but there are already many square manufacturing units are there. Second, there are also handloom clusters. There are handicraft clusters also. And in service industry, the biggest example is your service, the IT cluster in Bangalore. IT and ITES cluster, meaning, so in fact, like there is, this is part of the service industry, I would say. They are service enterprises in Bangalore particularly. But apart from that, even in Bangalore, there are electronic good manufacturers are there. So that is also another big area, actually big cluster, electronic goods manufacturing cluster. There are auto component clusters also in and around the city. There are many, in fact, if you look at like this MSME ministry database, you will find all these names.
Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am. If there are any more questions, I would request the audience to put them in the chat box so we can take after the session. Thank you, Sangeeta ma'am, for this amazing session. It was quite insightful. I'm actually an entrepreneur and I just got so many information now. I think I'll just check more about on Envar and update myself with the new things coming over there.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, we have our next speaker, who is Kanmani. Kanmani is a practicing architect who believes in creating human-centric spaces for living. She's a freelance architect and a volunteer at CGBMT. She has been actively involved in developing courseware for educational programs curated by the CGBMT School of Simple Living. She is also a founding member of an educational organization called Lead by Design that builds products and services that enable children to unleash their own creative potential. I hand over to Kanmani now to share about her experience and journey with us.
Thank you, Garima. Thank you, Neelam ma'am and CGPMT for this invitation to speak at the event. So I will share a little bit about my learnings from my journey so far. I hope you can all see the screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. It's going to be more of a visual photo presentation of sorts. So through my work, I have learned that the act of building itself is a negotiation between man and nature. This photo, as you all can see, is the Valley of Kashmir. It illustrates how small human dwellings are in relation to the magnanimity of Mother Nature. It also informs us about how man has gone ahead and built those shelters for himself along the girdler of the slopes, an act of positioning himself in this kind of a harsh landscape. This is a closer picture showing all the settlements along the hill. So this clearly shows us that understanding processes in the natural environment is crucial to the act of building. And this is Jhelum River. We can see how the river flows and nourishes every part of the land that it touches. Along the river, people start cultivating crops and slowly civilization grows. Lived experiences have informed man about how to conduct life. This photo This photo shows how water enables life. But another thing is also that all these knowledge comes from lived experiences. And over years, these experiences have been collected by mankind. Now, this lived experience that we talk about is wealth that has been acquired with an understanding of science. And these experiences have been shared and put in use within communities. It is the sharing that actually helps the knowledge to be transferred and to be put in use. I would also like to point out how all these resources that we talk about, water, land, etc., have also been commonly held, managed, and shared. Very strict community systems have been in place enabling this as well. These are the tank systems, the Johars of Rajasthan and the Panankenis of Karnataka, which have also been managed by communities. And there is also an illustration which shows you community coming together and working. And we were never separating ourselves from nature. We took responsibility, and specific people in the communities were given responsibilities to go and maintain every aspect of the resources as well. Real life examples like this show us what community can do and how a collective can be very empowering. Now, let me show you another example of community participation from a completely different set of young people, very young people. This is a group of children from rural Tamil Nadu who teamed up to understand challenges existing in their communities by talking to elders, mapping their communities, and then they also went on to design and build their own battery run mixers. This is the prototype that they built together. This is just before they finished it up. But what was interesting to witness this process also was that they were driven by one goal. They knew they had to solve the challenge. So they all came together. It didn't matter to them whether they knew something or didn't know something. Putting aside all their differences, they came together and they worked. This is another example of a team from a school in Chennai that went on to design their own mechanically operated composting machine. These children show us the power of collective action towards one common goal. They all came together, put down their thoughts, worked as a team, went back into the communities, had these questionnaires for stakeholders, asking them, what doesn't work right now and how can we make things better. And then slowly they built these solutions. At this point, I'd like to point out how we live in very interesting times where we have this knowledge from lived experiences, real truths about the climate change, and all this potential and strength that the younger generation possesses. My experience in CGBMT showed how a handful of young people coming together could actually create meaningful, relevant work as well. To connect all of the resources and potential, it is required for us to create ecosystems where we can come together and work towards causes bigger than ourselves in an unbiased way, seamlessly with one another, where we can volunteer for a cause we strongly believe in and slowly form a collective that can inspire, encourage, and nourish, a collective where we share, learn, and grow, a collective where people from different age groups and worldly experiences come together, put in their best work, and collaborate. So these are some of my learnings from the experience I've had working with communities and with volunteer movements so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanmani. That was quite a nice experience you shared with all of us.
Thank you
I
very much.
request anyone if they have the questions so they can share in the chat box. You can keeping posting your questions and we can take after the next session.
Actually, I do not have a question, but I think a very nice presentation by you, Kanmani. And
Thank
I
you, ma'am.
am, it was really interesting to listen. A very important, crucial aspect where development is always supposed to be at loggerheads with sustainability or nature, because anything we do, we have to take out from nature and then do it. So our whole intention in the future probably has to be how to do development and still not be, destructive, but rather regenerative. I mean, that is what sustainable development goals are about, and that's why they were changed from Millennium Development Goals to Sustainable Development Goals later. And that was something which was there. So that you have really very beautifully you have shown through your presentation. That's really nice.
Thank you, ma'am,
Congratulations.
for your very kind words.
Now, the next speaker we have is Dr. Shobha Reddy.
Garima, Shobha ma'am will take some more time. She's on the way, coming back from the hospital. So I request Neelam ma'am to explain.
Yeah.
So then we can go with them.
Fine. Yeah, no problem. Yes.
So I request Neelam ma'am to share about the CGBMT 2022 campaign.
Okay. Second. Hello, everyone. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see.
So I have a very small presentation, and actually this particular in 2020 when we started really, as I was mentioning in the beginning, from a founder driven non-governmental organization, we tried to get to the next level, to try to really get it in do the works in a more organized manner, and that was the beginning of 2020. That was January, and we had our first advisory committee was formed, and then we had our first meeting on 2nd of March 2020, if I can remember correctly. And we started a campaign on our foundation day in that year. Incidentally, by that time, COVID had already set in, and so we had to do everything online, and we started online campaign, in that year on 24th of April 2020, which we talked about simple living. That was the first thing, first campaign that we ran actually in 2021. The idea behind simple living actually is not new. What CGBMT has been promoting in 2007. We did a program called Sustainable Living 01, and in that was the year of sustainability, when they were talking about the Millennium Development Goals not really in alignment with sustainability and trying to change things. And in that year, CGBMT was one of only one organization which actually did a national seminar and conference for 3 days, and which involved all kinds of people from small children in painting, and then women with waste out of making things out of the waste, and school children in quizzes. Two, we had people, and we had a lot of panel discussion. Architect Jessim would remember we had conferred our Nature's Friend Award on Architect Jessim in that year. And we had
February.
panel discussions on, yes, sir, in Kaban Park.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the program that we did. Yes, sir. And so we had a 3 days, and we had school children, we had colleges, we had architecture colleges, design colleges. And the whole thing was that if you want sustainability to be taken forward, you have to living of the person, how do we live sustainably? That is the first thing that we have to see. And since CGBMT was focusing more on like building materials, so just the name, as the name suggests, sustainable building, Center for Green Building Materials and Technology. And we had a question as to how do you build sustainably when people do not know what is it to live sustainably? Because as architects and as designers and people, we have to build for where the people live. So if they live sustainably, then only we can build sustainably. And all our products, and the same concept as we have been actually promoting since that time, advocating in our various webinars, seminars, workshops, and programs. And that is where, when we had our first, advisory board, and then we thought about this simple living, because sustainability has really, by the time, a really abused word, and everyone does everything and says it is sustainable. So we thought simplicity probably would have a better and direct, people would understand that more, not confusing like what is sustainability and what are we supposed to do. And that's when Simple Living campaign, we ran a 1 year campaign, and that was under balancing the 5 elements in nature. How do you, because that's what is global warming about, as we all know. And we tried to give a little bit of, not small clippets about, in terms of statistics, and also in terms of slightly telling people what it is like and what is happening and what you can do. So we had one of the posts running was called Sustainable Families, because during the lockdown, everyone was together and most of the time, and how they can actually do things together in their house itself and be sustainable at the same time through our very simple day-to-day, very mundane acts of switching off extra lights and things like that. We went to that level of doing very simple things, which actually, when you do it in a cumulative manner, really translates to a lot of effect it can have all across the world. I remember one NGO in Bombay, they were talking about leaking pipes and the amount of water wastage which happened because of leaking pipes, and they went around doing that, just one work, and I think it really did affect a lot of change. So when we talk about simple living and we talk about actions, we generally try to look like that. So in the second year, which was 21-22, we talked about action for simple living, and that's what we focused on as our campaign last year, where we talked about different kinds of actions which could be taken, and the small organizations and workshops that you could attend, and what are the people who actually are doing it. And now in this year, now the COVID is behind us, and we have to have much more action on the ground. We have now come up to hardcore skilling in a simplified manner. And that is the campaign that we are launching today from CGBMT, where we will be posting various actions that you can take, and how do you get skilled for that, and how that skilling you can actually do it at your personal level, use it for your personal use. You can use it as an entrepreneur, social entrepreneurship, or you can actually make a large entrepreneurship, as Sangeeta, Agasti was talking about. She MSME, sectors and all that, and that is how I generally believe that one person at a time, one family at a time, one small action at a time, and that's what is going to do climate mitigation. And no UN COP and UN and COP and the Prime Minister or a president actually can do anything unless we all do our own bit. And And that's where this campaign actually is coming here. And this is what I think I spoke about. And the last year that we have done. And this is, so when we start talking about any sector, because sustainability is a sector now. So if you want to develop a sector, you need skilled personnel. And skilled personnel, I'm not just talking about people who work on the ground. I'm talking about across, from designers to policymakers to the people who execute. And this is what is skilling, because education and skilling, they are absolutely two different things. It's not necessary that educated people would be skilled. So that is where CGBMP wants to step in to fill the gap or bridge the gap between the people who we generally think they are uneducated, but we know that they are more skilled, and there are people who are educated but less skilled. So how do you actually try to get the two together? And that's what this particular campaign that we are trying to do is about, connecting vertically from policy to execution. So unless until we do that, a person on the site, what is the problem he is facing? If you really do not, understand that, and you make policies which is not conducive to that, again, the sector cannot really work. So we really have to close the loop to see that right from beginning to the end, the loop is closed. This we want to do through, to the impact, and we believe in the skilling solutions. How we'll be doing, to the general people, and we want to a common man to acquire the skills for the jobs in the sustainability sector, and it will also produce more jobs in the sustainability sector, where it is really required to develop the sector further. And this is where again we will be helping in the with the talking about in the campaign, through our whole campaign. And the focus would be again balancing the 5 elements for the climate mitigation, which will be under different kind of a heads, and under again different kind of elements, where we will be having rainwater harvesting, groundwater recharge, food, agriculture, vermicomposting, things like these, which actually are very much required. People want to do, but they don't know where to go, where to learn, and where to get people who can actually do that work for them. So this is something which is these small steps that we want to take, which is the focus of our 22-23 campaign that we will be doing this. And this through this we want to have the digital community engagement, where we will also be showcasing, we all talk about International Environment Day and things like that, but we all, in all the countries across the world, I have seen where traditional communities, traditional festivals were always with the harvesting seasons and things like that. That's how it was done, because we depended on that. We want to bring that thing again back for people's knowledge as to what it is, what it was, and we will start with Indian festivals in there. We also want to have, because a lot of industrialization and all these things, people think that art is a something which we is wasting time probably, and that has made us more probably inhuman. And I think sustainability art has a lot of thing to do when we can actually use it to sensitize people for sustainability or simplifying this kind of skills. And this is what we really want to do. And also art is also about healing, because I think the humans and everything, and we are all really wounded, including nature, including human beings. We need a lot of healing, and that's what I think art, where it's like it tells you stop, stop, slow down, and just pause for a moment. I think and art gives you that retrieve, to introspection and things like that. And I think that's really, we will be focusing on that, and we will be inviting several people who have been working in the sector, and also from common man who wants to uh, you know uh, uh, you know uh, express through art. And we will be posting the best entries or best whatever we get, the art pieces on our digital media, this thing. Newsletter, we want to now slowly get into whatever we are doing. Some things have started, things after COVID, we have something started happening. We have started work on our site as well for the small center that we are putting up there. So we'll be posting updates, and also all our activities will be posted. We will also be just trying to have you MCQs just to update on certain things which are like hard hitting, what do you say, datas, to make you aware as to how the world is going and where we are going, and what we should be done. And this is today's, and webinars will be fortifying the whole campaign. We will have series of simple talks which we are starting from today, and we want to have on not just on some issues like this, but a more holistic lifestyle, how you have. And when I'm talking about a holistic lifestyle, I would like to emphasize like a life in a village. So they do go and do their work, they come back in the evening, they sing in the morning, they when they are going out to the field, they sing. I think they're much more happier than, and whoever tells that people in the villages are completely tortured and and they are this thing, I feel they are more happier than us and more contented, and they really know how to live. And I think we are going to talk about even those kind of aspects, what makes for a probably of a happy way of living. And we will be having all those different kinds of webinars that we'll be doing, and of course hands-on workshops which CGBMT has been doing for a long time. And due to COVID we had sort of stopped, and but from last September we are slowly starting our workshops. So the first workshop, I'm happy to announce, is on 25th and 26th of this month, where we have started the construction of our center, and we are doing some fencing work. We are doing some toilets which are making with the bamboo crete walls, and we also starting our first small unit building construction. And we will be taking a lot of people workshops, and then also a lot of apprentices and people and residencies, if people are interested to live with us and build with us and do all the other activities that we'll be doing on the site, like harvesting things, growing vegetables, and all these things will be done at the site. And this will be a series of workshops which we plan to do one every month, starting from this month end. So please stay tuned for that. And this again, all this will be linked to the campaign that we will be running on the media. This is one effort from CGBMT which I just want to present. We have already launched that last time, pre-launch kind of a thing, and you can book your copies. You can mail it to us, if you want to pre-book your copies. The book is under editing, and then we are hoping to get the copies in our hand pretty soon, in a few months time. So this is another that I wanted to share, and thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Neelam ma'am. I'm sure everyone had just learned something very interesting today, and the campaign is going to be a very environment change maker. Now we have a very important and special person amongst us whom I would like to invite here. Architect Jaisim sir, a very experienced person and CGBMT advisory committee member. So I would like to invite sir to share his experience on sustainability and to emphasize importance of World Environment Day with us.
Thank you, Garima. Thank you, Neelam. I thought I'll just hear and go away.
Thank you, sir.
This girl pulls me up from here. But people think, when people talk about simple living, it is the most complex thing to achieve. You have to learn a lot, understand a lot before you can get. Simplicity is the most difficult thing to achieve. It's very easy to talk about it. It's very easy to even get a simple house like a Mearson house or something designed. It takes years and years of experience. It is not easy at all. It is very easy to get complicated things and pretend it is interior decoration or interior design and put a lot of color and a lot of things. Just like what she was taking, take the bamboo. Bamboo looks a very simple material when you look at it. I have a lot of bamboo around me. Don't see it in the hall. But it is a material that requires a lot of understanding, lot of respect. Sometimes when I used to be with the environmentalists here, it used to be phenomenal. The other day we had an environment talk with youngsters. They all talk with enthusiasm. I agree that enthusiasm and long talks go a long way. But just to understand one material takes lots of exploration. And that requires tremendous attention, tremendous dedication. Bamboo is a material, yes, but I'm very convinced that once you understand the depth of the material, it will pay you back in many ways, not just in the elements of senses and the elements of human reactions, but in life's thing. If you finally design, the simplest thing is a comprehension or the achievement that one can achieve. But you must understand that's a long way. To be able to get rid of it, to become a rishi of something is not easy. To get rid of things is not easy. To understand what to get rid of, what to get on is a value process. How do you decide these values? It depends on where you are, who you are, and what is it that your objective is. The objective thing requires understanding your own subjective analysis. This is very crucial, especially in the field of building, because human beings have to live. It's very easy to say big populations or reduce this, reduce. Very difficult. Don't travel and save petrol. It is very easy to say this. At the same meeting, each one of the candidates, each one comes in his own car or own thing, and then say, use the metro. It's very easy to say, use the metro. It is very difficult to understand the complications of transportation systems and other things. This happens especially in the built environment. I've now noticed another very fascinating thing that is happening, like what we built. Neelam knows my Sivida thing, and yesterday I was in Mysore with the Mysore School of Architects students who were trying to do what they call the thesis on environment. It is such a fascinating experience to learn when you walk through the villages. And when you walk not as a big group, you should never walk into any of these villages as a group, maybe maximum another one person. Moment you take a group, it's a show off. Their show off and your show off. It's between two show offs. It doesn't work at all. You just walk quietly. In fact, if you can afford the time and pleasure, stay with them. Then these villages are very much interior, not in the main road aspect of things. You understand the human behavior and the culture of a couple of thousands of years ago, still lingering out there, wanting to be understood. Whereas we have gotten to modernity of an ununderstandable process of complications, including this computer, where I don't have some hotspot works with this because the Wi-Fi is gone. Technology is slowly overruling us. I understand the art, but again, don't allow the art to overrule you either. The technology fusion with art, that is the final fascination that human beings should be able to understand. Bamboo allows you, but bamboo wants you to understand. To even process the bamboo requires a lot of effort. And a lot. Once you do the effort, it's like going through a college and going through experience. Then it gives you back tremendous pleasure. It's very easy today, bamboo furniture here, bamboo chair here or something. When you go through the experience, bamboo smiles at you if you don't look at it with respect, and fourth day it just collapses on your head. It's like steel concreting. What fascinating thing was when I was listening, just about to take on to your Zoom, I was listening to the concrete Zoom. There were the concrete engineers talking to us about various fascinating aspects of the concrete world. It is fascinating to integrate, not to reject one thing, but to understand that side, and then comprehend this side, and then unify it in such a way that the human being can be able to achieve. I was the other day driving past the elephant side. Does the elephant understand us better, or we understand the elephant better? Sometimes I feel the elephants understand us much better than we understand elephants. They look at us. Only thing, we are after their tusks, whereas they are after your water and a little bite of grass around you to take and go. You look at them in Suvida, they don't destroy our cottages. They just come, break the compound wall, walk in, drink water, smile, put their trunks up and say, "Om," and then go away. Whereas what do? We take a gun and go behind them. That is the difference. Whereas if you just walk behind them and tap, they also zoom to you and then take you along with you. It is an understanding of life that makes very experience. To say live life simple means throw away things and things. It's not that easy. It is understanding the comprehension. That is what makes architecture a fascinating subject to understand, along with acoustics and ecology. Economy comes, yes, but that doesn't mean you have to starve breakfast so that you save it for somebody else. You must make sure there is enough for that person also, in addition that you're also not hungry. Unless you are not hungry, you cannot make the other person's stomach full. Your going hunger doesn't make that such. That I believe that's a very Gandhian principle. First, know how to look after yourself, then look after the other person. If you don't know how to look after yourself, don't ever attempt to look after the other person. That is very, very fundamental. Sacrifice is the stupidity of things if you don't understand what sacrifice is. You must comprehend that. That's very, very important. The facts that happen, because I first thought I won't talk about it, but she was after me and said, Garima said, so could you put a few words? But the moment I talk, I allow the aspect of interacting with people. And Neelam knows this aspect of CGBMT has been with me from the day she's been after me, and I've been after her for various aspects of life, especially your central areas also, they keep talking. Students must be taught these aspects in the college to understand. The other day I was with, they start designing even in the third and fourth year. How can they understand architecture and design in the third and fourth year? After 60 years, I still don't know even 10% of what I'm supposed to do. This is the problem in India we face. This is where some of the other countries and some of the other dialects have much more depth of understanding that you cannot do it, cannot get into the field of reality till you understand most of it. Very, very crucial. Just, will you ask a student to operate on a patient? No. Whereas you ask the environment to incline with us all the time. This is the problem we face here. In fact, I'm very happy that India is undergoing a tremendous change, that we're discarding what we learned 300, 400, or even 800 years past, and slowly and getting back to understand what was there 4,000, 5,000 years back and bringing it to today's context. Go back 5,000, 4,000 years. Don't bring that back here. Understand the context of that today. You will find this heterogeneous context of the subcontinent. I don't call it India. It had another fascinating name. This subcontinent is a phenomena of learning. The languages, the communications, which happens. What I think is one word is actually an opposite word is another language, maybe in Telugu or in Malayalam. And then comprehending that the person understood me totally in a different way than what I wanted. This is where I like the language that I'm talking with you now. It is not English, it's English, because it's our language. Somehow we have taken over the West also with us. And the West has slowly given up on that point and said, okay, it is English. And when you talk English in London, only a few of them understand you. Whereas you think you're very clear, sir, what language are you speaking? I said, I'm speaking the language you came and impounded on me, and I modified and gave it back to you. After the next day, he understands, and then comes back to you with great depth of understanding and says, yes, sir, you have taught us how to modify and understand your culture to make it integrate with our culture. That is the culture of bamboo that can be done. That doesn't mean you throw away teak wood or redwood or anything. No, they also have their presence. Steel has its presence. Today, my most fascinating material I'm playing with is plastic. Everybody wants to throw plastic. It's the God's highest blessing in this world is plastic. Man has even understood 1% of the quality of plastic and the glory of it. Once they understand the glory of that material and in plastic, you see what happens to human life, or what you call modes or living hormones, or whatever you might call those words. You see the way architecture changes and the environment changes. It'll be unbelievable. The birds will love it. Now we allow the birds to eat open plastic and die. No. If you know how to put it in your footings, if you know how to integrate it with your nature, it is a material that pays like gold. Gold can be used as what? Only as a hanging here and hanging there and hanging there. But if you really knew platinum and gold in its depth, you will create wonders of technology. But then art must look at it without overrunning it. If you can fuse these two and understanding comes, this is where I gratify that institutions like CGBMT and all help a lot. But we should not fall into our own will of our own space. We must understand the environment that goes around. That is environmental understanding. If you can understand and get ecology going, contribute to life. And thank you very much for this little opportunity to extend my thought process to you, because the moment I start getting into this depth of this subject, it just grabs me like absorption paper and takes me on and on. Even after 80 years, I find it's a phenomenon. I've understood very little of what it is living in this space. Communication is very, very, very crucial. Understanding is very, very crucial. Once that can be done, life will be fascinating to live and make every step of yours a moment to remember and moment to always be with you for future and now. Thank you very much for this small opportunity of something. Time is of no limit. I want to talk to the first speaker. She said, I don't have time. No, in one line you can finish life. You don't need half an hour or 2 hours to talk about the environment. You just need 5 minutes. That's all you need. Even 5 minutes is too much. 3 minutes is maximum. If you can't communicate in 3 minutes, it is not worth communicating. Thank you very much for this. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank
I
you
can
for
hear
sharing
you.
your thoughts.
Go ahead, very much. Yes.
Yeah. May I request Dr. Raghav, if you can share he has been a very important and regular part of all our webinars. Dr. Raghav, may I request you to share your thoughts?
Yes, thank you, madam. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And,
I can't see you.
I am still in
The car.
yeah, you can see me, sir.
Oh, there, I can see.
I am still in the college. I am in the staff room, and there may be some disturbance from around. Yes. I have been more a sort of student of this CGBMT activities and principles of simple living. Only thing with me is ever since I relocated to Bangalore from Chennai about 2 years back, I have been regularly attending the programs of CGBMT, and it has been very interesting for me. I am basically a structural engineer. Therefore, from that point of view, most of the principles and whatever architect Neelam Manjunath has been trying to propagate, they have been very dear to my heart, and that is one reason I am constantly looking for ways and means of interacting with CGBFT. And more than that, at this point of time, I might not be able to tell much because I am also not prepared. But it was very stimulating also to just now listen to architect Jaisim also. You are a very inspiring speaker. And I have also seen the dedication with which architect Neelam Manjunath is working towards her goals and her principles. And that is another very, very stimulating thing for me. And that is one more reason why I keep myself associated with the activities of CGBMT, and my best wishes to you, madam, and best wishes to CGBMT. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to share. I think we are probably Dr. Raghav is trying to see that CGBMT and Nitya Meenakshi, where he is working right now, has a MOU and to take up work especially from the civil engineering department, where we want to do some material research and all that, and documentation of the research that we have done. So Dr. Raghav has been really pushing it for quite some time, and we hope that it will be closed very soon. We are in that stage of this thing. Am I right, Dr. Raghav?
Yes, yes. I will try my best. And as an individual, yes, I am trying to associate myself to the maximum extent possible. Therefore, when I have to rope in the institution, it is taking some time, and I will continue my efforts in that direction. And soon we will do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, என்ன வேணுமோ சொல்லுங்க சார், நான் கேட்கிறேன் உங்ககிட்ட இருந்து பண்ணலாம்.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I wish we meet in person also soon, sir.
Yes, you should. We'll do it.
Yeah. We will do it. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Over to Garima.
Thank you, Dr. Raghav. Thank you, Jasim sir. That was such a beautiful insight and inspiring words from you. I will request the audience to...
Garima, so we can open it for audience. Anyone wants to ask any questions, share anything with us, so they can actually are welcome.
Any questions from the audience?
Unfortunately, the third speaker. Garima, I think you can announce about the third speaker.
Okay, ma'am. Unfortunately, our third speaker couldn't join us. He had to run to an emergency. And so we keep our platform open for all the queries regarding the topics we have covered today, or anything you want to know about more about CGBMT. Please feel free to ask with us.
Now, Garima, there is already a few questions were shared in the chat box. Take up one by one.
That was by Dr. Raghav. We have already asked actually, and
anybody who has any questions? Sangeeta, do you want to share some more?
Somebody has raised their hand, Dr. Shrivani.
Go ahead, Dr. Shrivani.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Please.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, ma'am, namaste. This is Dr. Shrivani from Chintamani. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, I'm working with farmers.
Yes, sir.
We can't see your face.
Yeah, sir.
Shrivani, can't see you, ma.
Yes, sir. I'm coming. You should help my papa. Yeah, namaste, sir.
Good.
Namaste, sir.
Namaskar.
Yeah, sir, I'm Dr. Shrivani, sir. I'm working with farmers, sir, in my place, Chintamani and Chikbalapur district, and I'm making them to know and give awareness about bamboo and grow bamboo in the environment, and also how it gives revenue to the farmers. So how CGMBT or people like you can guide me or help me to give more awareness and help the farmer in growing bamboo.
Good point. We can put you to Bamboo Society of India. I think if you are a part of it, you may be knowing. There are some experts. I can share their numbers with you, and you can definitely get in touch with them and take it forward from there. I mean, that should work. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
and also, I want to.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Where do you stay? Where do you
Chintamani,
stay?
sir. It is
Chintamani.
Chintamani.
You have not.
Chikbalapur district, sir.
Go around and see.
Sir?
Go around
Sir,
your village.
Yes, sir. I have seen, and I have 6 acres of bamboo, sir. I have already grown, And many 4 to 5 farmers are native. They also planted nearly 200, 300 bamboo trees, bamboo plants. It's 1 year old. So in this regard, I need more information and details and guidance about marketing or the value addition. Whatever may be the thing, we are ready to do because we are a group of farmers. So,
Good. Neelam will help
we
you
are
on this.
planning to work on this. Yes, sir.
Good.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we can have some expert. We have lots of experts there. I can share the numbers and names of those people, and if you want, I can also put in a word, and then you can take it forward from there. Right?
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. And also,
Okay,
I
thank
had a
you.
word
Thank
with.
you. Nice.
Fine. Thank you.
Yeah, tell me.
Is it okay to speak,
Tell
ma'am?
me, Shivani.
Yes, ma'am. I
Yeah,
had a word with our Taluk EO about plant bamboo plants near water resources like ponds and water bodies in the boundaries of the water bodies, so that we can avoid soil erosion like that. So discussion is going on. Maybe may also
Who is talking now?
people in the place. Everyone. Yeah, she wanted, sir.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible. Can you repeat once again?
Yeah, is it okay, ma'am? No? Hello?
yeah.
Yes.
Fine.
Now it's audible. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Now audible, ma'am? Hello? Ma'am,
Yes,
shall I
please go ahead.
repeat it once again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ma'am, I had a word with my Taluk EO, officer of my Taluk about bamboo plants and to give awareness about the bamboo plants and also plant these water bodies on the boundaries of the water bodies. Hello?
Yeah, understood.
Oh, we
We've
got your
understood.
subject.
Dr. Shivani, you can
We have
share
understood.
your email ID so that we
You
can
got
reach
it,
to
ma.
you. I have
Shivani,
shared
we
all
have
the
got.
contact also.
Yeah, go ahead. Who is speaking next is what I want. Go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Shivani will update you with the new things. You can connect with us on our email ID.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
And
Okay, ma'am.
can we have next question
Thank
from the
you.
audience?
Thank you, ma'am.
I think
Yeah, one more thing, I think, yeah, so whoever wants any kind of a, since we are talking about one is a skilling and other things, they can share whatever they want in the email to us, and then we will provide, we'll put them to proper people or organization or agency, or if we can answer them ourselves, we will do that. Please share your queries with us. Right? Yeah. Anyone? Purnima, Karthik, Iti, anybody wants to share something? Arnab, Shomnath, Ashish. Okay, I think so. We can wrap up. There's one, I wouldn't say appeal, but I'll sort of an announcement from CGBMT. I would like to say we are trying to develop a volunteering ecosystem and trying to work out a model of trying to have a volunteering ecosystem development program where we want people who want to volunteer, who want to work on these kind of projects where they they get experience, they also get exposure and networking onto different kinds of things, like for example, we are working on several different kinds of programs, and we also coordinating and collaborating with other organizations to do other kind of works. So if anybody is interested, we definitely would want them to, join us as volunteers. We are looking to expand our programs on the ground and also, on online and offline mode. And so as I was talking about, have started our construction of our small unit near Devanhalli, where we will be conducting regular workshops and programs. We also want to do the village, the community engagement with the villages which are surrounding our site, and start with them also as a unit. So there are different kinds of programs. We have this mass gathering program, which we had actually launched in the year 2020, but since it needed outside work, on the site work, on the ground work, and it could not be actually taken forward, we are again coordinating and cooperating with other people to take it forward to various organizations. And all the organizations who have already an MOU with us, we request them to come forward and join us in those programs. So as a volunteer, you will have a lot of opportunities, and that is not just for architecture. You can be from agriculture background, you can be from civil engineering, material science, you can be from mechanical engineering, or a science graduate who wants to do research on different kinds of topics. You could be just a common man who has interest, and we could you could actually work with us. We're also looking at a lot of, because social media is the main media these days. So we are looking at social media handler, copywriter, content creator, researcher, communications, and also fundraising. These are some of the areas in which we are planning to work. We are going to be putting our programs and courses very soon. So we are looking at if retired academicians or any other academicians who will be willing to work with us to make innovative education programs. The way the new NEP has National Education Policy has come, we really want to have a hybrid of offline and offline programs, which we are discussing with various universities, and we have our MOUs. So you will have the opportunity to do work, which actually again later, and we want to apply for different kinds of projects, research projects and other things. And so we need a lot of volunteers, and we would be happy to have people on board. The minimum volunteer time for a senior volunteer is 6 months minimum, and a junior volunteer who is actually not a graduate, at least 3 months is the time that we are looking at. And we connect you to different, what you get out of the volunteering is also very important. And that's what, when I'm talking about volunteer ecosystem development, that is what we are talking about. We're trying to work out a system in which it's a win-win situation for the volunteers and also for our organization, CGBMT School of Simple Living. So this was something which I actually wanted to share. And this book that CGBMT is putting up, we will be sharing the link with you for pre-booking and the books, and that can be for the education institutions. You can be yourself personal this thing, and we will be and this, all the proceeds from the sale of the book will be going to CGBMT, which will be working in the sector for trying to work towards the promoting simple living and skilling for simple living and sustainable development, and a happier and healthier future for everybody. Thank you, Garima. I think we can wrap up the program. Yeah, this is the book. And you can actually pre-book or write to us, mail it to us. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. If there's any question or doubt regarding the volunteer, please drop a mail at CGBMT School of Simple Living. We have updated the text chat box also with the mail ID, so you can read from there. Now, as we come to end of our session, I would like to thank all the speakers and all the audience here today with us. The session may have come to an end, but it feels like a start of a new environment year. I give my special thanks to our speakers, Ms. Sangeeta Agasti and Kanmani, and architect Kanmani, who gave such a deeper message and help us connect with the MSME and with the experience Kanmani shared with the children she is working. So I would like to extend my thanks on behalf of CGBMT. I request Radhika ma'am to share a vote of thanks from her side. Radhika ma'am is our program manager with CGBMT.
Yeah. So a very good afternoon, everyone. Hope I'm audible. Thank you so much for each one of you for being here and taking your time and effort, and especially to all the speakers. And it's very unfortunate that the third speaker, Dr. Shobha ma'am, couldn't join. But I know sometimes, unexpected things happen, but we need to support her in that way. So, but we will make sure that that topic will be covered in the upcoming campaign. So here I'm Radhika, Architect Radhika Gopinath. I'm so connected with CGBMT because of I follow architect Neelam Manjunath ma'am from the year 2014, and it's been like the kind of effort which ma'am puts in with respect to CGBMT, and the kind of effort she tried to take forward the bamboo as a very interesting construction material. And so it is very important that we strive hard to connect with the community also, to take forward some things which is very important, which can support the whole community and the environment. So it is very important that as a single person, when you connect as a community, come together and give hand to each other, so that a bigger vision and mission can able to succeed. So that's the kind of volunteering we are doing. So initially it was very limited people. Now it has grown up into a very big way. So I really request each one of you to support us in this way, and keep joining with all upcoming events and webinars and whatever workshops we are conducting. It's going to be very helpful. And I'm enjoying this journey. So I'm, putting this word to everybody that you can also follow this path. It's very easy. Thank you so much. And new volunteers have joined recently, and I welcome them also in this forum. And I thank each one of you for joining and sparing time with us in this webinar. Thank you so much. And the team who were there in this.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Successful.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for the lovely session.
Thank you, everyone. Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jasim sir. Thank you, Raga sir.
Yeah, thank you, madam.
Shivani.
Yeah, we will meet again. Thank you.
Please.
Volunteers, thank you, all the participants.
Thank you so
Radhika
much,
and
ma'am.
Garima,
Thank you, sir.
Arnav,
Thank you, sir.
Somnath, everyone. Thank you. Jasim sir, I'm planning to come sometime to your place. Just hoping to connect to you, and also sir. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Just stop the recording, I think.